Hello, this is Faith Beatty, and I'm going to talk about the different theories in language acquisition. There are many theories and presumptions surrounding how to acquire a language in an effective and efficient manner. Language learning is a process through the mind. It is a complex brain mechanism of different mental factors. Theories help us understand human behavior, but doesn't necessarily predict human behavior. Each of these theories is a little bit right and each a little bit not right, and they should all be viewed under the understanding of a brain development or a neurological perspective. For this presentation, I am going to talk about three notable language theories that greatly affect the acquisition of language. First, I will be talking about Noam Chomsky's theory of nativism, and secondly, I will be talking about Cliff Skinner's theory of behaviorism, and lastly, I will be talking about Lev Vygotsky's theory of social cultural. The author of nativism theory is Dr. Noam Chomsky. He's an American linguist who taught in MIT and an accomplished writer on linguistics and philosophy, and also a great resource speaker on current issues about U.S. foreign policy and international affairs. The nativist theory of Chomsky said that language learning is a universal human trait. The big thing here is that humans are naturally hardwired to learn a language. He came up with a language acquisition device, or LAD, which says that humans seem to acquire language in the same progression, at the same rate, and it's an interaction between nature and nurture biological predisposition. The gist of this theory is that all of us have a genetic predisposition to learn languages. It is an inherent ability, which means that we are born with it. According to this theory, our brain has a linguistic corpus or mechanism which was dubbed by Noam Chomsky as the language acquisition device, or LAD. This language machine would convert sounds and symbols into meaning the way that another human organ converts substances into energy. This theory also states that there is something called a universal grammar, or a finite set of rules which are not the same in every language, that determines how our brain processes meaning. So how do we connect Chomsky's nativism theory in ELL's learning and instructional strategy? Since Chomsky believes that grammar has recurrent rules that enables the learner to produce its own grammatically correct sentences, and that the brain has a built-in mechanism to create a language, the best learning approach is to have conversations, discourses to expand the second language learning experience. The more ELLs engage in small talk, conversations, or discussions, the higher the opportunity to develop vocabulary and the chance to analyze their sentences to negotiate meanings if there are any breakdowns in communication. This type of learning environment must be open, friendly, and accepting to any answers the student generate during the conversation. The second language acquisition theory is behaviorism by B. F. Skinner. Skinner is an American psychologist, behaviorist, author, and social philosopher. His work was focused on human behavior and behaviorism in relation to society. He earned his doctorate from Harvard University and has written several books on the subject of behaviorism. From a behaviorist perspective, it views children as a blank slate that needs to be filled. Successful behaviorist techniques permeate the dialogue. There is clearly a significant influence of the role of the adult in terms of controlling, modifying, and influencing the child's immediate behavioral responses through a range of verbal and linguistic devices. The first example of a behaviorist technique occurs when the parent coaches the child to imitate and copy a sentence accurately word for word. Firstly, when the child is inaccurate, the parent repeats the sentence. The child uses imitation, a behaviorist method, to achieve the correct behavior, in this instance, the desired verbal articulation. And then the adult uses positive reinforcement by articulating, well done, to allow the child to see that they have achieved the right response. This is a clear example of classical operant conditioning. The use of the two-word sentence is swift and direct at praising verbally the child's behavior, functioning as encouragement for future reinforcement, drawing upon the stimulus response model. Although, due to the short duration of the dialogue, it is difficult to assess the longevity or the permanence of the effect of the behavioral response. It has, however, clearly achieved its effect in the short-term dialogue. So how do we connect Skinner's behaviorism theory in ELL's learning and instructional strategy? It is best to use the communicative competence approach, as language under this theory is more than grammar forms and structures. Communication occurs more in social interaction and establishing social relationships. The learners should have social, linguistic, and discourse competence to produce and understand the language or making sense of utterances into a unified whole. Activities in the classroom could include building experiences, drills, choral repetition, dictation, pronunciation drills, and memorized dialogues. The language learning environment should be dynamic with different learning methodologies that lets the ELLs practice their language competencies. The third language acquisition theory is the sociocultural theory by Lev Vygotsky. Vygotsky is a Russian psychologist who worked in post-revolutionary Soviet Union to rebuild psychology in order to confront problems with the new state, especially in the field of educational psychology. He advocated that development cannot be separated from its social context and that language plays a central role in mental development. Social cultural theory of Vygotsky said that all words are encountered in a social context, including culture. Language learning is essential to cognitive development of thought. Language is learned by interacting with others, again through cognitive modeling and apprenticeship. Gradually, we hear these words, these ways of thinking on the outside, and they become internalized, both the words and the way of thinking. Vygotsky emphasized the role of the social environment, that is, the other people who interact with the child, the children's learning. The interactionist theory or the social cultural theory of language development is supported by Vygotsky assumes a position somewhere in between the nativist and the behaviorist theories. According to this theory, language development is a product of the interaction of biological, cognitive, and environmental factors. Interactionist or the sociocultural theory study the role of biological factors, nativism, as well as the social and cultural influences from the environment, behaviorism, in language acquisition and development. Interactionists, or the believers of the sociocultural theory by Vygotsky, believe that children are born with brains that predispose them to the ability to pick up languages, as well as with a desire to communicate. Some interactionists even argue that babies and children cue their parents and other adults into giving them the linguistic exposure they need to learn a language. The interactionist theory posits that children can only learn language from someone who wants to communicate with them. So how do we connect Vygotsky's social cultural interactionist theory in ELL's learning and instructional strategy? Vygotsky is a social constructivist who believes that it is necessary to understand and delve into the background of the learner to be able to respond accurately to its language learning needs. The students and teachers are sharing the responsibility for the construction of knowledge by working together, collaborating on common goals, and tailoring the lessons to students' need and level. Since this approach is based on a social construct and anchored on the belief that social interaction is vital key to learning, this method deals with working with peers and solving problems and the need to control emotions to reduce anxiety for optimal language competency. The classroom's learning climate should be supportive and encouraging, being able to express personal meaning in their dialogue as a help for them to make sense of the world. Activities in the classroom could include communicative pairing and discussions. Again, all of these theories are a little bit right or a little bit not right and should be understood in the context from a neurological perspective. Thank you for listening.